Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Teekah Lewis, who was almost 3 on the day that she disappeared on January 23rd of 1999 at a New Frontier Lanes bowling alley in Center Street in Tacoma, Washington. As I mentioned in the short, she was playing by herself at a racing car game, and she was only a few feet away from her family. There were quite a few people there of her family. It says here nearly a dozen. And it was sometime between 10 and 10:15 p.m., so quite late for a nearly 3-year-old to be out and about. Now, I'm once again looking at the website charlieproject.org, and it says here that she was about 6 feet away from the exit when it happened. Teekah's mother, Teresa English, said that she turned away for a moment and the child vanished. And then it goes into that there was a witness saying that they saw a maroon Pontiac Grand Am speeding away from the parking lot during the night Teekah disappeared. Also says that another witness stated that an unidentified Caucasian man may have followed a child to one of the alley's exits during the night, and they were described as being in their 30s with shoulder-length brown hair, facial pockmarks, a mustache, and a large nose. In November of 1998, so a few months prior, a 4-year-old boy was molested in the bathroom at New Frontier Lanes, the same place, and the suspect had brown curly hair and a beard, and the 2 security guards believed they'd seen him at the bowling alley before, but didn't know his name. A few weeks after that, a Caucasian man with brown hair tried to lure a 6-year-old boy from the same bowling alley, claiming he was the child's father. And earlier on the day that she went missing, a man with curly brown hair attempted to take 2 children from a park less than a mile from the bowling alley. And in that case, the children's father managed to chase them off, and they saw them driving off in a Pontiac Grand Am, but it was blue. Now, the children's father didn't report the incident until they saw the Tikka case on the news, and then they thought, oh, maybe they want to know about this. So we have several descriptions of men trying to abduct children and 2 Pontiacs, but different colors, being spotted in these cases. A lot of references to a man with brown hair and maybe also both times a beard or a mustache. But no arrests have been made, and as far as I can tell here, they also do not really have any suspects. Now, the final thing I'd like to note here is that it says that she is asthmatic and requires medical supervision, as well as usage of an inhaler and or ventilators. So regardless of who took her, she may have gotten into some medical issues if they didn't have those things for her, which is likely. So while we have a lot of information about the bowling alley and the sort of activities that happen there, apparently on a regular basis, we don't really know too much about where Teekah went, what happened to her, or anything really, because I also don't see any mention of any security footage anywhere, so they must not have had cameras. So all we really have to go on is she was there 1 minute and then she wasn't. So I was asked to do a tarot reading, and we're going to do that today using the Modern Witch Tarot, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Botticelli deck, which is this one. Now, as per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Alright, so we're starting off with the 6 of Wands in the top left, followed by Temperance in reverse and a 2 of Cups right next to that. So the 6 of Wands is usually somebody who's celebrated, and I've got the impression that somebody appeared to Tikka to be some type of really interesting, good, friendly person. particularly because we have the Two of Cups there on the end with these three cards. We also have Temperance in reverse. I think that is on the part of whoever is being represented by the Six of Wands. So somebody shows up and they appear like a really nice person. Maybe they had something that Tikka wanted, or they showed her how to win the game, or something along those lines, and they were up to no good. At least they were not able to contain something within themselves, I feel, or she at least was not able to contain her enthusiasm, and maybe she's been told at some point that maybe she shouldn't talk to strangers, but that's been thrown out the window. That type of situation is what we're looking at right now. Of course, she was 2 going on 3, so can you really blame her? And then we have the Two of Cups on the end, like I said, and that is probably like forming a new friendship almost, at least from her perspective, that this person is now somebody that they consider to be good. At least they are kind of on the same page with this Two of Cups, it seems. Now, next card that we see here is the Chariots, which is definitely represented by something that is very fast, in this case a motorcycle. And they have a wand in their hand, I'm just noticing that now, so it's kind of like almost a Wands card, and Wands of course are fire and action, so this is a very quick thing that's happening right now. Next we have Death in reverse and the Knight of Cups in reverse. So we're moving quickly, and we have a lot of fire with the wands right there, and of course a lot of fire in the motorcycle as well. Death in reverse shows that we're not really looking to let go of anything, maybe unable to let go of something that was already brewing inside of them, kind of also relating to the Temperance in reverse over there. Just not wanting to let something go, not wanting to let a moment go perhaps, because we have here the Knight of Cups in reverse. Now, Knight of Cups is normally fairly self-centered and of course emotional, but I think that they are just looking to hang on to this because it makes them feel a certain way. So I think that this is a part where whoever took her is in this, I guess you would call it a rush or something, like, oh, they're in the middle of this action that gives them a rush of emotions and are just not really focusing on anybody but themselves in this case, which of course you would need to be able to do if you can kidnap children so casually, so that doesn't surprise me. Then we have the Seven of Swords. We're lying over here with the King of Swords. We're actually pretty good at that. And then we have the Two of Pentacles. So Seven of Swords is betrayal, or at least lying, misleading, probably telling her all sorts of lies, maybe telling her that they were going to go look at this thing, or perhaps that they were going to come back to the arcade soon enough. I'm feeling like maybe they told them like, hey, I know this place where you can get ice cream, why don't we go and get an ice cream and we'll bring some for your mother. So to make her feel like it's okay, that type of lies are being told here, and I feel like they're usually pretty good at this already. This is something that they're not unfamiliar with. Doesn't have to mean that this person is always, or at that point at least was always, trying to get the children in their car, but it probably does point towards somebody who's used to getting their way by manipulating those around them. Now the Two of Pentacles kind of landed on its side, but it was mostly in reverse, so I put it on reverse, and it is signifying that they're not spending their resources carefully at all, because the Two of Pentacles of course is like balancing out, should I go for this, should I go for that, how shall I spend my time, and they're just throwing all that caution out the wind, and they don't really care too much about consequences. I feel like they're not super worried that anybody's going to come after them, I feel, because they're very comfortable, and like I said, they're also really much focusing on their own thing there in the top right with the Knight of Cups in reverse. And I feel like this is something that puts them in a world of their own, I feel, and they just don't seem to care too much about anything other than that happening. We do here see the Ten of Wands followed by the King of Pentacles and the Moon. So the Ten of Wands is a card of carrying a burden, but it's about to be released. And then we have the King of Pentacles, who's pretty good at taking care of their resources. So now we do actually care about what we do. And then we have the Moon in reverse, so maybe secrets revealed, but it could also be what's lurking in the deep is going to be hidden even more. I feel like this is the aftermath. Like over here we have 9 cards, no, not 9 cards, we have 9 cards that point towards somebody being in the moment, going through this thing, taking a child that's not theirs, and just doing whatever they feel like. And now we have the okay, now what? Because this feels like the aftermath, if you know what I mean. I feel like this may not bode very well for Tikka, because at this point we're not really seeing anything from her either. We're not seeing much of hers either. Kind of in the beginning we have a little bit of this knight in shining armor thing over here, and her signing up to be with them, because of course they wouldn't be able to judge it any other way. And now we're looking at cards that basically say, okay, now I just need to take care of these last little bits, and then I'm going to be very careful with my resources, and nobody's ever going to know, because they're just that good and careful with their time and how they spend it. Also how they take care of business, I feel. Particularly the Ten of Wands kind of shows somebody who has been carrying this burden for a while. So we might be looking at somebody who is habitually doing things that require hiding with the moon afterwards. So it might be one of the people that was noticed around the arcade previously. Like we had a couple people that were described in somewhat similar fashion. Maybe people just misremembered the color of the car. So it might be one of them, but they seem to be a little bit too comfortable with this type of behavior, and just not feeling like they're gonna get caught right here. Alright, so at this point I think we're at the end of the main event for Tikka, but what happens with her? Because we haven't actually seen much of her. Are we going to see anything of her? Because we also haven't seen any signs of where she is, dead or alive. And after that we'll move on to whether we're ever going to catch the perpetrator. But first I want to focus on Tikka for a while, because we haven't really had much of her side of the story yet. Alright, we have the Six of Pentacles here, which is like a charity card. And next to that we have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so working against them. There's initially some charity being offered here with the Six of Pentacles, but then we have the Three of Pentacles in reverse, or working against it. I feel like this may be indeed a situation where they were offered something that Tikka would like, and maybe they actually did go and get some ice cream or whatever it is that they may have promised her, and then after that things switched because we're no longer working together with this Three of Pentacles. What else can we see? The Ace of Pentacles again, a Pentacle card. So we're definitely looking at some new initiative, a new way of getting something that you want. Perhaps maybe they are being promised that they're going to get something else. Or she's now trying to come up with ways that she could get what she wants, or at least try to get away. The Two of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so that is also, again, we have the Two of Pentacles right there. So we're once again not spending our resources very wisely, and it's definitely not leading us anywhere good. So whatever idea that you may have had, whatever attempt was made, did not lead to any positive results. At least was not as carefully executed as it could have been. I think that this is also matching us up with the timeline of the perpetrator, because we're once again looking at the Two of Pentacles. This one was on its reverse side. This is the Fool. So she may have woken up to the fact that this was not a good person, and of course she was very young, so I don't think that she would have much of a concept of what a not good person was like, but she was definitely aware at this point that this was not a nice man or a nice person. If it was a woman, don't know. So she was no longer just carelessly going about her business, at least not around them. Okay. 3 cards. We have Justice in reverse. Okay, so we're not doing her any justice at this point. This is where things are happening that she is definitely not in agreement with. She does not appreciate it. She also cannot help herself at all because we have the Magician in reverse, so not able to influence the situation. And then we have the 7 of Cups, wishful thinking, possibly hoping that maybe this is just a bad dream, or it's really sad, actually, like just wishing for things to happen that would be better than what's actually going on with her at this point. And the 4 of Wands, possibly trying to cooperate in some way. 4 of Wands in this case literally showing a child curling up or trying to cuddle up to an adult and possibly trying to curry some type of favor with them to maybe harmonize the situation for their benefits. Okay, we got 2 cards, but one of them is on my thumb. 6 of Swords is being taken to another location. At least it shows the boat there in the background going down the river, and I don't think she had much of a choice but to go along with that. Obviously, she's not going to fight off an adult by herself. And then we have 3 more cards. We have the 6 of Wands in reverse, so now she is definitely not thinking of this person as a great person anymore like it was at the start, but she is now able to see through the facade. We're starting to run out of space here, so I'm going to have to move some things around right there. Then we have the 10 of Swords. Okay, so worrying a lot as a matter of fact. And then we have the King of Cups in reverse. So this person is also manipulating her emotionally again, just like we had over here. This was the King of Swords, but it's a similar type of energy, but now it's an emotional manipulation. So possibly telling her that if she doesn't cooperate, then maybe members of her family might get hurt or something along those lines, like that level of trying to manipulate her into cooperating. Meanwhile, she's very much stressed out and worried about what's going to happen next, obviously. So it looks like she just fell into a trap and she was just not able to work her way out of that. Didn't really stand a chance, which you would expect against an adult, obviously, for a 2-year-old. But she tried, and sadly was not able to get away. Now, let's see if we can find anything about this perpetrator, if we're ever going to see them come to justice. Are they going to be exposed? Are they going to find anything of Tikka at all? Oh, that one flipped. Okay, so we have here, I believe that was the Page of Cups. Oops, bumped the camera there. Yeah, the Page of Cups, indeed. So there is an emotional surprise coming up. So there might be something that just kind of pops up that makes people go, and maybe, I think this is an emotional surprise for onlookers, not necessarily the person who did it. I think we might suddenly get a little bit of information that we were not expecting that might be helpful in this case. Okay, we have like 3 cards over here, or 4 maybe even. 8 of Pentacles. Alright, so we have somebody who is normally very dedicated to their craft, perhaps not doing it correctly. I think the surprise might be that they're going to drop a stitch somewhere. They might end up making a mistake, just making a move. Like before, we saw underneath here that they're pretty good at what they do, and they are very well practiced, that type of thing, but they might be just making a mistake that's going to have them coming into the limelight somehow. We have the 2 of Swords, so we're being of 2 minds, and we have the Tower followed by the 4 of Swords. Alright, so I think that they're going to have a moment where they're thinking, should I do this or should I do that? And they end up making the wrong choice, which will lead to the Tower event with the world crashing down. I think this is the part where they probably feel like they're being caught in the act, and they're going to try to lay low, because we see here the 4 of Swords, so they're going to try to literally just stay out of people's eye, probably hoping that things will blow over. because I'm also kind of looking at the clouds over there in the background, just waiting for the sky to clear. Oop, that one fell on the ground. Four cups. So we have options, but we're not really interested in any of them. So while they're over there in their Four of Swords energy, they're also going to be like, oh, I don't really know what I want to do next. This doesn't seem like a good idea. That doesn't seem like a good idea. I'm just going to do nothing for a while. I don't like any of these choices. That one got stuck on me for a moment. It is the Hanged One, so they're trying to look at things from another perspective. Now, this could be the perpetrator, but it could also be people who noticed this mess up over here, now possibly re-evaluating the things that they thought were certainty beforehand. It could also be the perpetrator trying to look at things in a slightly different manner, possibly trying a new tack, so to speak, in order to avoid detection. Then we have this one. Who is this? Ace of Swords. Alright, so we're definitely trying something new, but it's not going to go very well. So I think after all this deliberating, laying low, trying to look at things in a new light, they're going to think that the certain action is going to lead them out of this predicament, and then that's not going to be the right thing to do. Like, it really is a moment of, oh, I think this is the thing, because you have this aura like, oh, this is probably the way forward, and then it turns out that actually it is not. And I'm also kind of focusing here on this smoke trail, and when I saw that, I was thinking, when there's smoke, there's fire, so there might be somebody who is seeing all of this and going, wait a second, 1 + 1 = 2, and they might then be able to connect the dots and get somebody else interested perhaps in looking into this guy. Yeah, we have the star here, which I normally see as a spotlight being shown on somebody. Could be for a good thing, could be for a bad thing. I think in this case it's because they're just standing out, possibly because people are now starting to think about them. It could be that somebody has known them for a long time, and now they're just suddenly seeing them in a slightly different light, and they're going, wait a second, I have seen this before, but before I thought it was XYZ, that the reason was this or that, but now, and now they're maybe thinking that what could be behind this, and they might start really looking at them, looking at the perpetrator more closely, possibly also digging through their memories of how they interacted with them in the past and what they may know about that. Just sometimes you have a vibe about somebody that there's just something off. You don't know quite what yet, but you've got their eye on them. And I feel like that's what's going on here. Okay, we've got quite a few cards over here. It's a mess in the meantime. We'll fix it eventually. Okay, I'm going to grab these, put them aside for a moment. Let's take a look at you first. Alright, we have the Six of Swords, so we're no longer letting them guide us down the path that they want us to be going down. So, like, if they were normally able to dispel some type of concern with a joke, for instance, because it is, of course, a swords card, so it's like a thought and words suit, they may no longer be able to do that because this person is now, like, thinking slightly differently about them than they did before. We have the Hermit here. We're coming out of hiding. Could be that they're now considering going public with their information. And the next card that's on top of the pile here is the Hierophant. So I feel like they might be trying to contact somebody who is an authority of some sorts in this type of matter. And then we see here the Ace of Wands and the Ten of Swords. Alright, so we're taking action here. And then we're kind of worried about something. Now, I don't know if this is the worry of the perpetrator or the worry of the person who is turning them in, thinking that maybe it's going to come back to bite them, which sometimes happens. If it's somebody who is known to strike out, you might be a little bit hesitant to report them. For instance, they're looking at their phone very closely, so they might be following whatever comes out in the media to try and see what's going on, if anything's been leaked to the public, that type of thing. But they are taking action at least, so it kind of looks like somebody who knows them will see something and then start to keep notes mentally or physically, and then eventually puts it all together and reports them somehow, or at least lets somebody know about their observation, and then kind of hopes that that person will be able to take further action. Okay, this one just jumped right out. So Knight of Pentacles, definitely having a good grip on your own resources. It could be the more mature version of the Seven of Pentacles, which is where you're still waiting for things to come off the vine. It could be that this is now referencing plucking all the things that you have been growing. So I feel like this may be the end of that process. This whole thing here could take quite a while, like the gathering of information and just kind of keeping notes, keeping track, and then eventually contacting somebody. That may have taken for some time, and they have a period of worry, and then they're like, okay, I think it's okay now because it turned out how I wanted. Now, does that mean we're going to actually find out what happened to Tikka? Are we going to find anything of her? 3 cards on that. We have the Four of Pentacles. All right, so we're spending our resources properly this time. Ace of Cups in reverse. So yeah, definitely letting go of any sort of connection with this person. Like before, we saw the Two of Cups where he was able to tie her to him pretty quickly because they're probably fairly charming, or at least they know how to charm people. But I feel like this is more like whoever this other person is just going, okay, well, I've done what I needed to do, and this person now, I don't care what happens to them. They could like walk off the edge of the earth, if you believe in that sort of thing, and then I wouldn't even care less. We have the Nine of Swords in reverse. There is a little bit of anxiety there, residual possibly, or this could also be pointing towards the breakup with this person, and then from the perpetrator's perspective, like they are now facing some worries that are literally keeping them up at night. So I think we're making a switch here from whoever is going to be reporting them to whoever, at least whoever did it, now realizing that perhaps their goose is cooked and the bond that they thought they had is broken. It could be that this other person who might end up reporting them has a pretty close bond, like maybe a family bond or childhood friend, something along those lines. I don't see a Six of Cups here, but it's definitely somebody that they've probably known for some time and therefore is very close to them and has quite a lot of experience with them, I feel. And now they're just like, okay, that's done. I've done what I needed to do over here, and now just deal with the consequences of your actions, that type of thing. So I think we might see him being turned in by somebody or reported by somebody, and then that will eventually lead to him getting in trouble, at least. So with any luck, we're going to find whoever did this, and they are going to be brought to justice, which should also lead to us discovering what actually happened to her, where she is, and then hopefully we can actually bring her home somehow. So that is what I'm seeing for Teekah Lewis. I hope you found that interesting. Make sure to leave a comment or a like. That really helps the channel along, just as well as subscribing, because we love to see the number growing. I hope to see you in another video in any case. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.